As you know, this week I'm narrating some folk stories from around the world. And today's story is another Asian one from China. And as you know, there are a lot of moral lessons in Asian folk stories, and so is the case here. The title is Planting a Pear Tree, and let's start without any delay. A countryman was one day selling his pears in the market. They were unusually sweet and fine flavored, and the price he asked was high. A Taoist priest in rags and tatters stopped at the barrow and begged one of them. The countryman told him to go away, but when he did not do so, the countryman began to curse and swear at him. The priest said, "You have several hundred pears on your barrow. I ask for a single one, the loss of which, sir, you would not feel. Why then get angry?" The lookers-on told the countryman to give the man an inferior one and let him go. But this he obstinately refused to do. Thereupon someone, finding the commotion too great, purchased a pear and handed it to the priest. The latter received it with a bow and, turning to the crowd, said, "We who have left our homes and given up all that is dear to us are at a loss to understand selfish conduct in others. Now I have some exquisite pears which I shall do myself the honor to put before you." Here somebody asked him, "Since you have pears yourself, why don't you eat those?" "Because," replied the priest, "I wanted one of these bits to grow them from." So saying, he munched the pear, and when he had finished, took a pit in his hand, unstrapped a pick from his back, and proceeded to make a hole in the ground several inches deep. He deposited the pit, filling the earth as before. He then asked the bystanders for a little hot water to water it with. And one among them, who loved a joke, fetched him some boiling water from a neighboring shop. The priest poured this over the place where he had made the hole, and every eye was turned upon him when sprouts were seen shooting up and gradually growing larger and larger. By and by, there was a tree with branches sparsely covered with leaves, then flowers, and last of all, fine, large, sweet-smelling pears hanging in great profusion. These the priest picked and handed round to the assembled crowd until all were gone, whereupon he took his pick and hacked away for a long time at the tree, finally cutting it down. This he shouldered, leaves and all, and sauntered quietly away. Now, from the beginning, our friend the countryman had been amongst the crowd, straining his neck to see what was going on, and forgetting all about his business. At the departure of the priest, he turned round and discovered that every one of his pears were gone. He knew then that those the old fellow had been giving away so freely were really his own pears. Looking more closely at the barrow, he also found that one of the handles were missing, evidently having newly been cut off. Boiling with rage, he set out in pursuit of the priest. But just as he turned the corner, he saw the lost barrow handle lying under the wall, being in fact the very pear tree the priest had cut down. But there were no traces of the priest, much to the amusement of the crowd in the marketplace.